be consistent and be vulnerable. I feel like that still remains true for a lot of people I see blow up, but they're just really authentic. I've always just been myself.
I'm here with Bobbi Althoff, creator, influencer, podcast host, internet celebrity.
I don't know about all that.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Bobbi, give me like a 30-second pitch about what you do and what your brand is.
What I do, I have a podcast. I just travel and interview people, and I take care of my kids when I'm not doing that. And I'm just myself, and myself is a weird person. So I think that I stand out because of that.
So this is how you are on your podcast, and this is how you always are.
Yeah, mostly. I feel like if I get really comfortable, I'm a little different, but in unfamiliar situations or settings, I'm like this.
So how many kids do you have?
2. Yeah, do you have any?
I do. I have 2 kids as well.
How old are they?
8 and 10.
Okay.
How about you?
2 and 4.
All right, so you're in it a little more.
I am.
You're getting close.
I am.
What did you do before you started your show?
For a few years before, I was on TikTok, just doing brand deals, posting. Before that, I was a nanny. Before that, I worked at Jersey Mike's. Before that, I worked at Sonic.
What's your favorite Jersey Mike's sub?
Number 13.
What is that?
Mike's Way. The Italian sandwich.
Okay.
I will never forget it.
Did you study media, journalism, anything like that?
I took a journalism class in community college.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you started doing TikToks, what sort of things were you doing?
Just parodies and satire. I think I first started, I was just trying anything to grow my page. So
Okay.
I would post how to become a nanny, and that wouldn't get views. So then I would post videos of me cleaning my house, and people didn't care for that either. So then I started just pretending to be a bad mom, and I posted videos about that.
What does a bad mom do?
I don't know if it was just so the account, I think that my bio was parody of a bad mom.
Okay.
And I would just say things like I'm getting my 1-year-old braces because her 2 front teeth are growing in crooked, and just stupid things that I would think of.
What did the community think about that stuff? Did some people think you were being serious?
Yeah, that's why I went viral, but there was enough people that would follow me because I knew it was just not real.
Do you know was there one moment or one video that kind of went viral and changed everything for you?
Yeah, it was a video of me, like the biggest in the beginning that I had was a video of me. Well, there were 2. One of them kind of pushed me to 1 million followers, but then the other one got me, more fans, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
one of them got me followers, the other got me fans on social media. But
Wait, tell that the difference to me, because I think everyone thinks of
So-
fans as followers. I want to hear the
You
kind
can
of
yeah.
what separates a fan from a follower.
or like not even just an engaged person who enjoys your content, but you can have 20 million followers and get no engagement, or have people that just don't really care about you or have any connection to you as a creator. But you can have 1 million followers and have way more than someone with 10 million, just people who actually care about you. So the first video went viral, but people didn't care about me, I guess. But the next big one I had, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like a few months after that.
And that got more engagement, people liking or reacting
Yeah,
and
just
commenting.
following me, following me on Instagram, trying to just learn more about me.
What was the first viral video?
It was a video of me holding my daughter at the time. Well, no, she's still my daughter, but
Yeah,
holding my
her as well,
daughter.
yes.
And I was like pretending her name was Richard. And I said that I named her Richard because I wanted a boy, but I had a girl.
Okay.
And I was like, so I named her Richard anyway. And it just got like, I think 4 million views.
Just that.
Yeah.
And were you like, what was your reaction when you saw it? Like, look down and saw those numbers.
Oh, I was like, I gotta keep posting. So I started posting probably 5-10 times a day for the next 2 years.
Can you tell when something, like when you made that video, can you tell like this is gonna be a big hit? Or
Yeah.
you can tell when it happens?
Pretty quickly. Like, I would say within the first few hours, you can tell if it's gonna be really big or if it's just gonna get some views.
Gotcha. But when you're making it yourself, like
No.
you have no idea. It's kind of
No.
like you just take as many shots as you
Yeah.
get. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I would post 10 times and delete 9 of them.
Okay.
But my goal for the first year of once I started getting views and getting followers was that every single day I had to have one video that I posted that got 1 million views. So I would keep trying and trying and trying until I got one to hit 1 million. And if I didn't, I felt disappointed.
Did you do a lot of, like, some people like try to like read the algorithm and statistics and kind of game it? Did you look at any data and stuff, or just?
No, I would just make 1 million videos and post them and see what would happen. So,
What kind of was your aim when you started posting on TikTok? Like, where did you see it going?
so I missed the YouTube wave, and I didn't have any other opportunities to get rich. So I thought that's what I saw. I was like, I need to make money, and this could do it.
How do you make money now?
Well, now with my podcast, but for a long time I made it with just brand deals off of TikTok.
Okay. How did you? What? Give me an example. What sort of brands would work with you?
I feel like I would do a lot of children things. So I did one ad for this necklace where I showed an ultrasound of my baby in it.
Okay.
Like cleaning products, things like that. I was a housewife and a stay-at-home mom, so just stuff that was in that realm.
And how much, like those early days, like how much were you bringing in a year?
I want to say that for those 2 years, I brought in at least 300,000 each year.
Okay, right, very cool.
Yeah.
Growing up, you said you were weird. You said that. I'm not saying that. I'm not putting words in your mouth. What have you always been funny? And, like, do people always think you were like you're doing comedy skits? Like, growing up, were you like always a funny person?
I don't know. I feel like if I said I was a funny person, people would be like, she's not funny. So I would never call myself funny, but I've always been the same person. And I've always wanted to act or have some type of leg in Hollywood, kind of. So I felt, my family always says that if anybody in our family was going to end up where I ended up, it would be me, because I was the most driven towards that. I would take acting classes when I was really little, and I was just always in front of cameras. At home, me and my little sister she would record me, just being weird.
What advice do you have to people that want to become influencers? Like, obviously you worked really hard at it, and you said you're doing those goals, 10 videos plus a day. Like, what advice do you have?
Be consistent and be vulnerable. I feel like that still remains true for a lot of people I see blow up, but they're just really authentic. And yeah, I think people like to watch other people that they resonate with. So for me, I've always just been myself. And even if that's talking about things that I'm insecure about or any of that, just being transparent with everyone and just post a lot, and you can fail 1 million times. I still fail at what I have right now. So no matter how big you get, you can still put a video out that gets no views.
Gotcha. Tell me about the podcast. How did this come to be? I remember, like, the first time I noticed it was the famous Drake in Bed podcast. How did the podcast get off the ground?
So yeah, before that, I think I started in April and I filmed that episode at the end of June. But in April, I saw a video of this girl talking about how she makes a lot of money on her podcast. And I was like, I should make a podcast so I can make a lot of money. Because I was tired of making TikToks every day and doing brand deals, and it wasn't climbing. I was making a steady paycheck, but it wasn't climbing, and I wanted to do something that could make me more money. And
what was your idea for the podcast?
So my favorite podcast is How I Built This with Guy Raz.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
I love that. So I would listen to every episode because I've always wanted to do something, and I just love listening to founder stories. So I knew I could never be an interviewer like him, but since I loved that podcast, it was inspired by it, but it was supposed to be a parody of it. So it was just, I knew I could never do it as well as he does it. So it was gonna be called So You're Rich. And I was gonna interview rich people and just figure out how they got rich so I could become rich too. But really early on, I was like, I knew I wanted to interview celebrities, and I was like, what celebrities are gonna do So You're Rich?
Okay.
And my very first interview got sent to my team at the time, and they accidentally sent me an email thread that was not meant to be seen by me, where they were just talking about how horrible my podcast was and how it would never go anywhere, and I should just be myself and not be in this character.
What was the character? Like, it's obviously you're obviously famous for your sarcasm, deadpan. Was it that sort of thing?
Yeah. They thought that was so stupid.
Was that a character?
Kind of. It was just an exaggerated version of me, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, but it was a character. I would, as soon as the cameras go off, it's just a normal conversation between me and the person. But
Okay.
then cameras go on, and I would like begin to act like that.
Who was the first person you had on the podcast?
Her name is Colleen Ballinger. Miranda sings. It was titled "So You're Rich" when I interviewed her.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just be like, "So, you're rich? How do I do that too?" And I would just figure out, like, ask her questions that most people wouldn't ask rich people.
Okay.
But yeah, then they said that was a bad idea, so then I switched it to the Really Good Podcast.
How did those early people on the show, your early guests, how did they react to kind of that character?
They knew that it was coming.
Okay.
She is a comedian, so I think she really knew and she understood it, and she said it was going to be big. And then I started paying people I'd pay people to kind of spot and help me connect with celebrities because
Okay.
I didn't know how else to get them.
So you had like people booking?
No, I would say comment and tag a celebrity, and if that celebrity replies and it leads to me getting an interview with them, I'll give you $300.
Okay.
So somebody tagged Funny Marco, and then I posted that on my story on Instagram. I said, Funny Marco, if you want this girl to get $300, you need to be on my podcast. And his podcast is what led to Drake being on mine.
Okay.
Yeah, because that one went very viral.
So you're kind of like guilting celebrities into.
Yeah, exactly what I was
That's
doing.
I've never heard that. That marketing
Well,
is really good.
I knew I couldn't afford the celebrity.
Yes.
And they don't do that for money.
No.
So I was like, what do I do? But you can guilt them into it.
When you launched your podcast, how many TikTok followers did you have?
I think a little over 3 million.
Did that following help you get guests and help you get the podcast?
Probably the first few, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Marco probably would have never, if I just had no following,
Okay.
would have seen it, yeah.
And then you did Drake.
Yeah.
And did that how did that affect?
Oh, then my life changed immediately. Immediately as soon as it was out, I got signed to WME that week. The week before, when I put a clip up, I got signed to WME so that they were there and they helped me post the actual interview. I got a manager. I let go of my old team who didn't believe in me.
Yeah, they were talking
Yeah,
trash on
they got,
email. There you
and they
go.
were so shocked when I let them go. But let them go, got a new team, got a business manager, never had one of those before, never needed one. Got a lawyer. My life completely changed. I had so many people that I paid after that.
How do you now book guests on the podcast? Like, I assume you have an extremely popular show. I'm sure there's a ton of inbound people want to come in. How do you find people? How do you say yes, no? How's that like?
So I have a booker, and he does a lot of outreach, but also if celebrities DM me still, or I DM them, there's still a lot happening that I just find on my own.
How do you prep for a show?
I don't at all. I didn't prep for this either, but I kind of had regrets about that when I sat down. I was like, I should have read that list my PR team sent me because I don't know what's gonna.
What was the list of what the PR team sent you?
I don't know. I didn't look. I just saw it and then I scrolled away. I was like, that's a lot of reading.
So, but like, do you book people that you kind of know about them, or like sometimes you have no idea?
No, sometimes I have no idea. A lot of times I have no idea, and then I just go in and learn stuff about them and ask them what I'm curious about knowing.
How do you make money now?
My podcast, still brand deals, but those are my podcast. Podcasts make a lot of money.
Yeah.
They do.
But like, is that through like, do you have a deal with the podcast? Do people say, oh, I want to sponsor this series? Like, how does that
I
work?
have a pretty good product placement deal. So just by carrying anybody who watches my stuff sees that I always have Alani New and Prime in it.
Yeah.
And then I have a company that owns my ad space. So I do about like 3 or 4 ads per episode every week.
So I've been listening to a lot of your shows, Bobbi, and not only do you have great guests, but you take the podcast out of the podcast studio. Sometimes you've done an interview on the tennis court, in the gym. I heard one, you went to like a haunted museum in Vegas with Matt Rife. Matt Rife was under 30 last year and spoke. He was a good friend of Forbes. How do you choose these venues?
I mostly let the guest pick. I would say 9 out of 10 times I just ask them where they want to do it. And yeah, Matt chose a haunted house in Vegas at midnight. And it was dark And by the way, that really made me mad, is that the camera didn't pick up that it was dark. It looked like it was bright and I was just being a baby, but it was so scary.
Yeah, I had to you were screaming, I had to turn down the headphones because it was like blasting
I
the
was
eardrums.
screaming the whole time. I was so scared.
Do you get noticed outside of, when you like out and about in the street, you get noticed?
Yeah.
What is that like?
I mean, it's nice recognition, I guess.
Do
It's
you-
weird,
yeah.
like knowing that people know who I am.
Is there like, what's the, you know, the good part of being a creator influencer is like you have all these people following you. Is there like a dark side, or not dark side, is there a downside to that fame? And the kind of the people feel really familiar with you because you're like in their lives.
I don't mind the people who follow me. I mind like paparazzi more than I mind the people. Like I don't mind people coming up and asking for pictures. I do mind. I've had the weirdest moment for me would be them finding my address and coming to my house
And
to
there's
take.
people, like you're going out and people try to snap pictures.
Yeah, it was one time, but at my house, one time they came to my house and they were trying to get a picture of me without my wedding ring on because I just filed for divorce or I just announced or whatever, they leaked the court document. But yeah, they like came to my house and my kids and I were on a walk and they let me restage the paparazzi shoot. So the paparazzi shoot that's on with people and everything is a staged paparazzi shoot.
What do you mean they let you?
So I got mad because I don't show my kids' faces or anything about them online. And I was with my kids. And then the paparazzi guy, I called the police. I was like, they're following me and my kids. I kind of figured it was paparazzi, but I was like, what do I do? My manager was like, call the police.
Yeah.
Called the police and they came. They're like, okay, so we talked to him and he's gonna let you redo it without your kids. He'll delete all the pictures of your kids, but you just need to walk down the street and redo these photos. And I was like, there's no way this is allowed. You're just gonna make me
You're
go
like,
do
you're
this.
like negotiating with the person.
Yes.
Okay, that's wild.
So yeah, then I had to go down my street and in the picture, I am on the phone with my manager being like, is this enough? Do you think this is enough? Can I go back inside? My kids were just screaming inside because they're like, Mom, why'd you just drop us off inside the house with my sister was in there to go take photos on our street.
What about, do you get a lot of online trolls or hate or anything? How does that work?
I get a lot. I feel like for the most part, I don't necessarily find, maybe this is unpopular, but I don't find all of the hate I get as like bad. Sometimes it helps me and sometimes, and that's not to invite more people to be mean, but I feel like sometimes when a lot of people think something, maybe it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I've changed direction of what I'm putting out based on what the comments are saying. And sometimes it's just constructive criticism. It can be a little mean, but yeah, it doesn't bother me too much.
So you're like the epitome of like the new media. You know, you have, like you said, you took one class in college, you've never been a journalist, but you run one of the most popular interview shows out there. What do you think makes you stand out? And like, where do you see media heading? Like you are on the forefront of kind of like this new wave of media. Well, it's not new, it's been around for a decade, but it keeps on, eclipsing traditional media, like what we're doing right now. So, like, what do you what's like your take on the industry right now?
I think people like how unscripted podcasts are and how it's just more casual than, I guess, old media, which, what would that be, like a late night show? I feel like it's less scripted and it's fun. I think that with my podcast, it's just especially fun because you're seeing these people in a setting you would never normally see them in. And I don't know how it keeps working for me. I'm just take it one interview at a time.
Do you think people are different on your show than they would be on other shows? You think you're letting the audience get a different side of these folks? And
Yeah, I feel like people open up to me more than they would normally just because it's so casual and we're just talking and I feel like that's the same with a lot of podcasts though, is they're able to be more vulnerable because I don't have this setup in my podcast room. It is
maybe
three of us.
Next time the crew here will give you an amazing formal setup.
Oh yeah, no. Would they be I feel like they'd be more likely to say less. But right now it's just me, the person, and then maybe two people on cameras in the room. And it's just very chill. We can talk about anything. And I also give every guest final cut of every interview. So it's nothing that they can say whatever they want and know after they can take it out. So
What are you excited about? Like for the next 6 months to a year, what are you focused on? What do you want to make? What do you want to build?
Well, I'm switching out of. I'm going to do the podcast. I'm signed to a year contract. I have to do the podcast till next June at least.
Yeah. And how many
so-
do you do? One a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I might switch to one every other week. It's a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
And I'm, like I said, a mom.
Yes.
So it's really hard for my kids to have me leave, and I prefer to be home.
You're like an NFL player. You're leaving every week.
It is. I really do leave once a week, and
Yeah.
I try to time it with the days they're with their dad, but if I can't, because I'm on the guest schedule, not mine. So I want to get into acting more, so I'm working on a TV show.
Oh, nice.
But yeah,
What kind of show is it?
I would describe it as kind of like Dave, but about me, not Dave.
Dave, the movie or the show?
Show.
I've never seen the show.
You have to watch it. It's good.
Give me the synopsis.
It's about, it's kind of seems real, I guess, about his life. But you don't, so for me, it would be a show about my life, but it's scripted. So it's not going to be exactly about my life, but it's going to be just a show kind of.
It's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Would you play your kind of yourself?
Yeah.
So you're not playing a character, like you just.
No, I play myself. Okay. Yeah, but it'll be scripted, so we're working on it now.
Before we wrap, give me a big prediction that you see about like the media industry or like the digital media industry in the next 6 months to a year.
I feel like it's just going to be the same.
Just the same.
Yeah.
Well, that's a prediction. That's an easy one.
Easy.
Bobbi Althoff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's great.